Hello and welcome to another Major Market Movements video blog update for September 11th, 2014. I'm Quad G, and we're taking a look at the PM complex, gold and silver specifically, and this is the previous blog post where I outlined a very key support level right here with this long-term trend line. Let me zoom down here. Long-term trend line support from 2008 low, and that was in the blue line, and then the midterm support level in the dashed green line. Those lines needed to hold as support in order for the potential for some midterm bullishness to continue. And now we'll move on to an updated chart, and you can see here with this gold chart, you have the breakdown through these key supports, and it's been dribbling lower since. This pink trend line also was a key back test that has failed, and so it looks like we are in a position for further downside. Let me move to this chart. This is the potential for the current move with those key levels of support broken, and also taking out 1240, which was also key support, and I'll tell you why here in a minute. With that all broken, the midterm potential for higher highs is severely compromised, and the potential for further downside has greatly increased, and to the point where I suspect that the key level that has held support for many months now at about 1178, 1180 has a high probability of being broken, and we could see the price move down to the 1155 level, which is the long-term 61.8% Fibo retrace level between the 2008 low and the 2011 high. So that would be the first level of potential support upon breaking 1180. And of course, if that breaks down, and then I think we have this level here is between this previous congestion support zone between roughly about 850, 840 to 1032. And this zone is going to be very key and should be very strong long-term support for any further breakdown in the price. There's no guarantee that we're going to get into that zone anytime soon. We still have to tackle the 1180 area and this 1155 area first, and see how the market's going to behave off those key levels. But suffice it to say, it's I think best for bulls need to be in a defensive position, if not outright short at this point in time, and prepare for lower lows to come. In one of the previous midterm counts that I had going on, we counted this wave up from that started off the year of 2014 with a bang up into mid-March as a wave 1, and then we had a 3-wave move down into wave 2, and then it looked like we were going to have a sub-wave 1 coming up here into out of June into July. But now that critical support for at 1240 is taken out, we can no longer count this advance as an impulse. It has to be some other type of count, and this with 1240 broken, there's all kinds of options as far as the LA wave count is concerned. This could be instead of a wave 2 could come way back here. We could have an ABC. Maybe this is a wave X to the upside, and now we're working on another 3 waves to the downside for a wave C, or wave Y, if you count this as W, X, and possibly Y of 2. That is a potential that I recognize. It's the probabilities are still very murky, though, as to determine whether or not we're going to actually see that play out. The other potentials that I see are will break the 1180 area, of course. So I don't highly favor any one particular account at this point in time. Just I think it's best to be short or hedging any long side bets at this point in time. Previously, back here in early September, we had this breakdown point, and I alerted subscribers to this and was able to set up a short trade setup roughly here in the 1270 area, and it's been playing out as expected since then. Let's move to silver real quick. In the blog post, I pointed out that was back here. Let me get back to here. That we announced back here on late August. This long-term trend line in silver also needed to be respected in order to maintain any high probability that we were going to see higher highs in the price of silver. But as you can see, looking at the silver chart, the updated silver chart, that blue trend line was indeed broken. We also had this midterm trend line in purple. We saw the breakout, and now we see the backtest failure. So that's all looking very bearish. And also this green trend line here, this midterm trend line, that's been a level of support for 1, 2, 3 tries, and now the 4th try we're seeing it break down. You'll often see supports or resistance levels. They can act as support or resistance 1, 2, or 3 different times, but seldom 4. And you can see that taking place now today with today's sell-off. We're breaking down that trend line fourth time. This is what's called a rule of 4 breakdown, and I suspect we'll continue to see selling based upon this movement, especially while we're below the short-term trend line, this orange trend line that's currently above at roughly 1930-ish. And I also want to point out that the QG3 rule set trading method, it's a rule set trading method, an objective trading method that I developed a few years back. That system of trading was alerting subscribers back in July 16th that silver was flipping from a long position to a short position, and roughly in the $12.65 to $21 range. And sure enough, we were able to enter short positions, and it's been behaving nicely. That position has been held ever since, and now that position, short position, is now over $2 in the green to the downside. Also pointed out at the time that we had this Bollinger Band pinch, and that is a consolidation period that often leads to impulsive behavior once you start to see the Bollinger Bands flare out again. And so we had the pinch, the upper Bollinger Band flares to the upside, the lower Bollinger Band flares to the downside, and with the price action below the 20 DMA there in the black, that sets up the probability of an impulsive move, and in this case to the downside. So that all played out as expected. I think silver over the course of the midterm could find its way down into the $17 level and as possibly low as the $15 level. Of course, we on the subscriber side, we play everything day by day, and if anything was a major change was to take place, obviously we would be alerting subscribers to that potential. But for now, it looks like everything's set up at this point in time after breaking those key supports to see silver reach down to $17 and possibly $15. Okay, that's it for now. Good hunting out there, and adios.